He was like always belittling me and always like, he was like mentally, emotionally, and physically.
So let me get this straight. One of the most powerful names in hip-hop has gone from Grammy-winning mogul to the face of one of the darkest scandals in the music industry. That's right, we're talking about Sean Diddy Combs, and baby, this one ain't just messy, it's a full-blown expose. Because all three of Diddy's closest former partners, Gina Huynh, Young Miami, and Cassie, are coming forward, and what they're revealing about their time with him is nothing short of disturbing. It's giving control, manipulation, and humiliation rituals straight out of a Hollywood horror show.
Wig, stockings, and sunglasses. She gave me a few $100s. There were red couches, Astroglide, and lubricants. There was a man on the right side of the room. The man had on a white robe and a bandana over.
And for the first time, we're hearing exactly how Diddy allegedly treated these women behind closed doors. Gina Huynh, a longtime associate of Diddy, dropped a bombshell during an old interview that's now resurfacing amid the avalanche of lawsuits. She claimed Diddy was emotionally abusive, physically aggressive, and kept her entangled in a toxic relationship through manipulation and fear. According to Gina, he made her terminate multiple pregnancies and even gave her hush money to keep quiet about the abuse. She described how the relationship started off sweet, but quickly turned dark. He allegedly belittled her, threw objects at her, and at one point made her nose bleed from physical aggression. She was scared, she was isolated, and she said she felt emotionally broken. But things didn't stop there.
And a baseball cap. From his voice, I recognize him as Sean Combs. They use baby oil every time. Sean Combs said we didn't have enough baby oil on. He'd say, y'all slow down, separate from each other. One time he tried to have us role play, like we had just met.
Once Diddy started seeing Young Miami, the public tension between the two women exploded. Gina threw major shade when she found out Diddy was having a child with another woman, Dana Tran, a cybersecurity expert. Gina posted a shady video online with the caption, "When she's beefing with you over a guy, but he got someone else pregnant the whole time." First, now if you thought Young Miami was going to ignore that, think again. She came in swinging, hard. She clapped back at Gina, throwing jabs not just about the pregnancy drama, but about Gina's past with Diddy. In a brutal online tirade, Miami mocked Gina for crying during her interview, brought up her alleged termination under pressure from Diddy, and dragged her for begging for a baby for 10 years. She even called her a certified freak and a side chick who gets used when he feels like it. Y'all, this wasn't a diss. It was character assassination. But here's the twist. In her attempt to destroy Gina,
actually the one that asked me to urinate on her. They had just come out of the room and she asked me if I had ever done that before, and I said no. And she told me to do it, and apparently I was doing it wrong because they both stopped me and told me that I was supposed to let a little out at a time and not go full. Like, take a
Miami may have ended up exposing herself. Because in the same online rant, she implied she had power over Gina's body, suggesting that if she told Diddy to make Gina do something, Gina would be forced to do it. The internet went wild. People said that kind of language confirmed everything Gina claimed about being controlled and manipulated. And if you think it couldn't get worse, wait till you hear about Cassie. See, unlike Gina and Miami, Cassie's relationship with Diddy started when she was extremely young. And according to a recent lawsuit she filed, what she went through was far more than toxic. It was traumatizing. Cassie claims Diddy completely controlled her life for nearly a decade. From isolating her from friends and family to allegedly using surveillance and threats to maintain control, the lawsuit outlines years of coercion, physical assault, and psychological manipulation.
Next room, usually on his nipples. I was an object being heavily objectified by men. Sometimes he would watch it on FaceTime. I was expected to do freakoffs on my period. Too much urine in my mouth. I didn't want anyone to.
But one of the most haunting parts of her testimony involves a disturbing practice Diddy allegedly called Freakoffs. Cassie says she was pressured into participating in encounters with other men, sometimes for hours or even days at a time, while Diddy watched or directed. These weren't consensual fun experiences. Cassie described them as jobs, as something she had to endure to survive the relationship. In the lawsuit, she also mentioned being recorded without consent, being surveilled constantly, and being forced to perform despite extreme discomfort or objection. Now here's the kicker. Cassie wasn't the only one to describe these disturbing encounters.
To urinate on me. It was disgusting. It was too much. I choked. No one could think I wanted it. Ventura. It was obvious I didn't want to be on the ground being urinated on by two men. The Freakoffs became a job and sometimes went on for 36 to 48 hours.
A man named Daniel Phillips, allegedly hired to participate in one of these events, said in his deposition that what he saw behind closed doors was shocking. He described the setting, the instructions given, and how Diddy allegedly corrected him mid-act to ensure things were done his way. He said there was no confusion. He recognized the man behind the mask from his voice. It was Diddy. According to Daniel, everything was carefully choreographed. The lighting, the outfits, the baby oil, everything had a role in what Diddy wanted to see. But what stuck with people the most was Daniel's claim that Cassie looked broken, like someone who wasn't acting out of desire, but out of fear. When Cassie herself took the stand, she confirmed it all, and then some. She revealed how Diddy would allegedly force her to continue even during her period, how she'd often choke from the intensity of these encounters, and how he wanted her degraded in front of others. She said it became a job, a 36 to 48-hour job. She described being objectified, being recorded, and being degraded repeat.
What was that pregnancy? I told him, and he was like, you're gonna get it, right? And then I was like, I don't know yet. And then
because now more women and insiders are coming forward, and the puzzle pieces are starting to form a picture nobody in the music industry wants to look at. See, Diddy was once untouchable. He had the money, the fame, the loyalty of some of the biggest names in entertainment. But what's happening now, it's like the floodgates have opened. And let's be real, this wasn't just some messy breakup drama. This is an avalanche of disturbing allegations with receipts, dates, legal action, and first-hand testimonies. You'd think the industry would be rushing to distance themselves, right? But nope. It's been crickets from a lot of Diddy's closest collaborators. Some are deleting photos, some are quietly removing their business affiliations, but most, dead silent. And that silence is speaking volumes.
It down because I just loved him, and I was like trying to prove that I wasn't the girl that wanted him for money.
People online are demanding accountability, not just from Diddy, but from everyone who may have known and turned a blind eye. Because here's the truth. There are rumors that some of the so-called Freakoffs weren't exactly secrets. There were allegedly assistants, stylists, producers, and even security staff who saw things, heard things, and chose to ignore it. Some even allegedly helped cover it up. So the big question now is, how deep does this go? How many people were complicit? And more importantly, how many more victims are out there too scared to speak up? People are already comparing this to some of the biggest takedowns in entertainment history, from R. Kelly to Harvey Weinstein. And like those cases, what started with whispers eventually turned into a roar. Now Cassie's lawsuit may have been settled privately, but the wave it created is still crashing. Gina's interview from 2018, Miami's tweets, the resurfaced podcast confessions, all of it has reignited public interest, and that means more eyes, more scrutiny, more lawsuits on the horizon. But let's pause for a second and talk about Cassie again, because for years she was just the girl in Diddy's shadow. A lot of people saw her as a pretty face with no real agency. But what we didn't know was the pain she was carrying all those years. Her lawsuit described being isolated, tracked, manipulated, and threatened.
Like the first 3 or 4 months, he was really nice, but then after that, he was like always belittling me, and always like, he was like mentally, emotionally, and physically.
She said she felt like a prisoner in her own life, trapped in luxury, but completely powerless. Her courage to speak up sparked something major. And for many people, Cassie's testimony is the reason Diddy's carefully crafted empire is unraveling. But even now, she's facing backlash. There are trolls accusing her of only speaking up for money, or clout, or revenge. But supporters are pushing back hard. They're pointing out that abuse survivors are often blamed, silenced, or disbelieved, especially when their abuser is rich and famous. And they're saying enough is enough. The timeline of events is also raising eyebrows. Because around the same time Cassie filed her lawsuit, federal investigators started circling. Raids were conducted, private jets were tracked, and suddenly, Diddy was selling off properties, pulling out of projects, and going ghost on social media. You don't do all that unless there's something to hide. Now let's talk about the money trail, because a lot of people are asking how Diddy was able to allegedly keep these women under control for so long. And the answer is, like always, money. Gina said he gave her $50,000 in hush money every time she got pregnant. Cassie said she was given gifts, trips, and private access to Diddy's world, but only if she complied. Young Miami, by her own admission, was flying private, getting lavish gifts, and flaunting a lifestyle most people only dream of. But at what cost? That kind of wealth creates dependency, and dependency breeds silence. These women weren't just romantically involved, they were financially entangled. And leaving meant more than walking away from a relationship. It meant losing everything. That's the part a lot of people don't understand about coercive relationships. It's not always chains and threats. Sometimes it's wrapped in diamonds and luxury. Sometimes the prison cell looks like a penthouse. But the control is just as real. Now, as for Diddy, his legal team is trying to downplay everything. They're calling the allegations unfounded, opportunistic, and sensationalized. But public opinion isn't having it. People are digging up old videos, interviews, behind-the-scenes stories. Former bodyguards are dropping cryptic messages. Past collaborators are suddenly distancing themselves.
You got to.
It says take a shower if you like golden showers. I do.
Golden showers, meaning when the guy pees on you, pee on you everywhere. You like it?
I just like it.
You do? Freak of the week, huh? So you say take a shot. You say take a shot? Oh, we need a shot.
It's all unraveling fast. And let's not forget the most unsettling part. These are just the stories that made it out. If all this happened to women who were in the spotlight, who had platforms and some level of fame, imagine what might have happened to the women who didn't. The nameless ones. The ones without a lawyer or a podcast interview or a fan base. Those are the stories we may never hear. But for now, the world is watching. And more importantly, survivors are watching. They're seeing what happens when someone like C
on you.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just too.
I'm gonna be honest. Hold on, one more thing. I need something. So I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never had a golden shower.
I did.
Did you? I've never had a golden shower. Like, I've given